Hello and welcome to this tutorial. I'm going to show you how to make a Dovahkiin foam helmet. You will need some high or low density EVA foam in 3 thickness, 10mm, 5mm and 2mm, some contact cement, some super glue, a cutter, an X-Acto knife, a rotary tool and a heat gun. The pattern used in this tutorial is available on Etsy. You can find the link in the description. I'm measuring the circumference of my head. It's 54 cm, so I am printing the template at a scale 93% on A4 paper sheets. Make sure to not print double-sided. If you plan to wear a wig under the helmet, take your measurements while wearing the wig. I do not have a printer, so I had to draw all the template by hand. I cut all the paper patterns, cut the little triangle marks on the sides too. I take some 10mm high density EVA foam and I cut out the parts D, E, F, G, H, I. I copy the triangle marks, letter labels and all other indications from the pattern on the foam. I'm gluing H and I together with contact glue. I put a thin layer of glue on each surface and I let it dry 10 minutes. Then, I strongly press the two parts together. I heat the foam with a heat gun and shape it on a mannequin's head. Then, I let it cool so it will keep its shape. I take the parts D, E, F and G and place them together. I heat shape all the parts with an acrylic sphere. These parts will form the top of the helmet, so they should have a round shape. Then I glue them together. For each part, the adjacent part should be the one labeled on the corresponding side with a little letter. I'm using the acrylic sphere and the heat gun to make them keep a round shape while gluing them. I take the parts H and I and I glue them to the front of the helmet to the parts F and G. I cut out the parts A, B and C from 5mm EVA foam. I glue together B and C. Then I glue them to the back of the helmet. Glue them with a gap on the inside of the helmet and not on the outside. Now we can make a fit test to make sure the size is correct. I sand all the seams of the foam with my Dremel. I apply some quick seal on the seams to make them as smooth as possible. Let them dry 2 hours and then I sand the quick seal with some very thin sandpaper, at least a 500 grain. I take the part A and I place it at the height I want on the back of the helmet. Then I glue them together. I cut out the parts M, N and P from 5mm foam. For M and N, I do a straight cut at the beginning. I make a 45-degree angle when I'm going to the center of the part, and I finish with a straight cut. Part P has borders all around. I cut some long strips from 2mm foam and I glue them all around P. I turn it around and I draw the center line. I cut a groove in the foam all along the center line. I'm doing it very carefully to make sure not to completely pierce the foam. I put some contact glue in the groove, wait for a few minutes, and fold the part P in half along the center line. It will keep a folded shape. I'm gluing a thin strip of a 5mm foam on the center line to help gluing the part B to the helmet later. I sand all the edges. I glue P to the helmet, following the lines I drew from the pattern earlier. The pike must overstep a little on the front of the helmet. I cut out K and G from 2mm foam. Then I add some borders from 2mm foam too. Then I sand the edges and glue them to the helmet following the lines I drew from the pattern. Going back to the parts M and N. I glue a border from 2mm EVA foam. I heat shape the part and glue it so it makes a round. I let it cool around a glass so it keeps a round shape. I place it on the helmet with the bottom placed a few millimeters above part K. I draw the outline, apply some contact cement and glue it to the helmet. I repeat the same steps for the other side. I glue some foam strips on the front of the helmet, following the lines from the template. I'm using some Parisian ties to make the rivets. You could also use some real leather rivets. I cut the tail of the ties so it won't totally pierce the foam. I add some super glue on the tail and I push it through the foam. If the tail of the ties pierces the helmet, cut it shorter. Otherwise, you might get injured when wearing the helmet. I cut out the parts X, W, Y and S from 2mm foam, and I glue them on the helmet. This is optional. You can keep the helmet without any additional detail. I sand the front of the helmet to make it look less thick around the eyes and the cheeks. Now let's make the horns. I cut out the pieces R1, R2, R3, R4, L1, L2, L3, L4 from 5mm foam. I glue them together following the little marks. I heat the foam to make it more flexible and ease the process. I can check how it turns out on the helmet with fixing the horns with tape. I sand the seams of the horns to have a smooth result. I take the weird paper pattern that looks like a curved ruler. I cut a hole on each intersection. I place this paper pattern on the foam horn between part 3 and part 4. The ruler should be the same length as the horn and approximately the same curve. I mark the location of each intersection on the foam. I cut out from 2mm foam all the parts R.A, etc., L.A, etc. Spikes of the horns can be easily damaged after a few counts. so I put a little piece of black warbler around the end to make them more durable. I take the left horn and the port L.A. I place the bottom of L.A on the first intersection mark and glue it all around the horn. I repeat the process for all the other parts on both horns. The horns are completely covered. I put them on the helmet. They should hold by themselves. You can secure them with magnets or Velcro if you want. Mine are holding perfectly, so I don't put any attachment. If you don't need the horns to be detachable, you can just glue them on the helmet. The final step is to make some battle damage. I make a rift on the helmet with my cutter and I hit the foam to open it. I make a few more damage and the helmet is finally done. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you for watching. The next video will be about priming and painting the helmet, so stay tuned. Bye bye!